second 5-year stint at the helm of the country's top position enters its sunset year. The constitution bars him from seeking re-election, a situation that has triggered a near-political stampede in his backyard as the search for the man or woman who can fill his shoes intensifies. It's an undisputable fact that President Kibaki was the region's common political bond, particularly as he sought re-election in 2007. In his absence, however, there is renewed vigor in crafting new political outfits and reviving political parties that had become dormant. Is this a manifestation of a political identity crisis in the region ahead of the forthcoming race to State House? Francis Gashuri examines the matter in this week's edition of the Kibaki Succession series.
The first general election under the new constitution is not far away, even though the exact election's date remains unclear. But one thing that is beyond doubt is that President Mwai Kibaki is constitutionally barred from seeking an extension of his stay at State House after holding the country's top job for 2 5-year terms.
Tangu mimi kuchaguliwa, tuliambiwa unachaguliwa 2 terms. Sidio? Na hii imekwisha. Na hakuna haja ya kusungumza ati ukaseme mimi nakupenda sana Mwai Kibaki, nataka ukae pale milele. Wai bure. Unadanganya nani? Utakuwa ukidanganya nani?
And so the search for Kibaki's political successor in Central Kenya region is on. However, unlike other regions in the country that have a dominant political party or a largely homogeneous political ideology, the case is different in Central Kenya. Even though Kibaki twice unsuccessfully sought the country's presidency in 1992 and 1997 on a DP ticket, before clinching it on a NAC ticket in 2002 and re-elected on a PNU ticket in 2007, these 3 political parties are not dominant in the region.
Mwai Kibaki has never done 2 things. It must be recorded in our politics. One, you never heard him speak Kikuyu, at least not in public. Number 2, he has never said PNU anywhere. If you go through the records, the only thing he's told us is that he was KANU member number 8, and then he was a member of DP. Those are the only 2 parties that he spoke about. The others he did not. And I think it's part of his ideology that you don't have to have a vehicle in the form of a political party that will take you there. An individual that is dominant and that can rally the cause around himself is sufficient, and he can be the vehicle instead of a political organ.
Already a cocktail of political parties is on the ground in the vote-rich Central Kenya region, trying to gain a foothold. PNU, chaired by Internal Security Minister Professor George Saitoti, believes it's the region's party of choice since it was Kibaki's political vehicle in 2007. Martha Karua's NAC Kenya has also been selling the flower agenda to the Central Kenya electorate ahead of the polls date. Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta's KANU also has structures in Central Kenya, and it also draws its roots from the region, having been founded by the country's founding father Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. The Democratic Party, founded by President Kibaki in the early 90s, has also been on a rebranding mission in the region. Other parties that have been scrambling for the Central Kenya vote include UDF, the Alliance Party of Kenya spearheaded by Energy Minister Kiraitu Murungi, Paul Mwite's Safina, and GNU led by Assistant Minister Mwangi Kiunjuri. Prime Minister Raila Odinga's Orange Party has also been making inroads in the region.
Traditionally, there was a lot of pluralism, and as a result, you do not summon the nation through one particular organ, which is like, for instance, a political party. You could only summon the nation through a cause, and that's why Mau Mau became the cause around which the Gema nation was summoned. Mwai Kibaki and the attack on him caused the entire Gema nation to regiment around him. So this time around, there has to be a cause as opposed to a political party that will summon the Gema nation. And in my thinking, that cause is likely to be the incarceration of Uhuru Kenyatta. He might become the unifying factor.
Other than Uhuru Kenyatta, there are several political leaders from central Kenya and its environs, or the larger Mount Kenya region as it is known, who have expressed interest in the presidency. They are Gishugu MP Martha Karua, her Gatanga counterpart Peter Kenneth, Safina leader Paul Mwite, and Gashoka lawmaker Mutava Musimi. Will the presence of many presidential contenders necessarily split the region's vote?
You do recall that in 1997, there were, I think, up to about 8 or 9 Kikuyu candidates. Even the late Professor Wangari Maathai was in that particular group. And we had Koigi Wamwere, quite a whole host of people who went in there. And each one of them got a certain number of votes based on what the people thought of them. So I think this cocktail of Kikuyu leaders were coming up to say that they want to get this thing also. They should be allowed to do so as a way of also claiming their stake.
Just before the 2002 polls, retired President Daniel Arap Moi named Uhuru Kenyatta, then a political greenhorn, his preferred successor. Is there a likelihood of President Kibaki unveiling his preferred successor, particularly in central Kenya?
Kibaki and his politics is posh to the extreme. And as a practitioner of posh politics, he cannot see himself mired in the mud of ethnic politics, where he says, Moi was a crude politician in many ways, and that crudeness is what we loved, because he talked to us. That's why he will shamelessly stand up and tell us, my candidate is so-and-so. Kibaki and the poshness of his politics completely disallow his sensibilities and his intellect to tell us that the man I will go with is this one. So we must not expect that to happen. But we also know Kibaki to speak in idioms. He will say Yule too, or something of that kind. And we saw him doing it the other day when he congregated his entire family, his 4 children, I believe, and he put them all there. And they went for a prayer meeting in Hodaya. And during that prayer meeting, he was invited by Uhuru Kenyatta to say a few things. And here is Uhuru Kenyatta. He's sending a message to us, saying that maybe the guy is this one.
But Uhuru Kenyatta is one of the 4 Kenyan suspects facing crimes against humanity charges at the International Criminal Court over the 2007-2008 post-election skirmishes. With the possibility of Kenyatta being technically and legally locked out of the race to State House, how will his predicament at the Hague-based court impact on the Kibaki succession dynamics in central Kenya?
Kibaki's mode of political dominance is around an individual as opposed to around an organ. That complicates his succession in central Kenya, because in the absence of a dominant individual as opposed to a political organ like a political party, then it means that if you remove the individual, then you scatter the beans. And if Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to be that unifying factor, then the possibilities of people scattering in the different ways are very, very high.
In case of such a scatter, who are the likely political beneficiaries? Could Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who has been eyeing the region's vote, also benefit?
And I'm seeing some of them actually voting for Raila Odinga. That's a possibility, because they also owe it to him in a sense. They feel that although he has been Kibaki's biggest headache, but he gave it to Kibaki in a sense.
The Central Kenya region is a rich vote-hunting ground for any presidential candidate in the forthcoming general election. The National Voter Register as at 2010 indicates that the region had close to 2 million registered voters. The 2009 population census results indicated that the region had 4.38 million inhabitants. For now, it's all eyes and ears on President Mwai Kibaki as the race to succeed him intensifies, not only in central Kenya politics, but at State House as well. Francis Gashuri for the Kibaki.